Hello, my friends. This is Deepak Chopra. How are you? I hope you're well and not panicking about the global panic around coronavirus. I was supposed to travel to London today, but because of travel warnings and many other people's concern, decided to cancel the trip, and therefore I'm back in New York. So since the coronavirus is creating worldwide news and also worldwide panic with crashing stock markets, loss of confidence in the economy, loss of confidence in world leadership, and people generally feeling totally unsafe, I think it may be appropriate to put things in context at the moment. The virus is, coronavirus, is definitely a possible worldwide epidemic that could result in a lot of morbidity and mortality. So it's important to be aware that this is a real threat to humanity. But it's also good to put things in context. We've had epidemics, pandemics before, and ultimately everything resolves. Of course, there's a lot of collateral damage in between. So while the world is preparing, the scientific world is preparing, hopefully, to come up with a vaccine, and also to look at the way the virus mutates. It could stay as is, it could mutate to a more virulent virus, it could mutate to a less virulent virus, it could have a life cycle that spontaneously runs itself out. There are many factors, and one thing is for sure, that the panic is creating a lot of damage as well. Economic damage and just stress, and stress has its own biology. So if you get stressed about the virus, it's not going to help you. And if you get stressed about being stressed, it's not going to help you as well. And while the virus is the cause of the illness, it is also a precipitating factor in susceptible hosts. So what can we do to minimize at this moment our risk of morbidity and mortality? And common sense says that we should make best use of lifestyle strategies to optimize the well-being of our body, so we are not so susceptible. And these things include restful sleep. Please take time to get good restful sleep between 7 to 8 hours. Meditation and stress management to reduce the amount of inflammation in your body, and also reduce stress. Simple. The more you practice self-awareness and mindfulness and mindful awareness, and also just transcendence through mantra practice, the more your body goes into what we call homeostasis and self-regulation. Exercise and movement remain important, but if you can practice deep breathing and yoga asanas and just focus on activating your parasympathetic nervous system instead of your sympathetic nervous system through deep relaxation, that vagal activation itself is a healing response in the body. Homeostasis, self-regulation, cutting down inflammation, activating genes that decrease inflammation and enhance self-regulation is all possible through lifestyle. And yoga, meditation, deep breathing, movement are equally important. The fourth thing is focus on healthy emotions instead of panic. So the more we can focus on supporting each other with love, compassion, joy, empathy, and just deep listening to each other and being positive in our caring for each other, giving each other attention, affection, and appreciation, and also looking at the situation with sobriety and not panic. Healthy emotions, some connection with nature, healthy nutrition, and also, if possible, take supplements that in fact are anti-inflammatory. There's a lot of evidence that turmeric concentrates, aloe vera, there are herbs that are called adaptogens like shatavari and ashwagandha. So if you feel like taking supplements that enhance the immunity or adaptogens and decrease inflammation, do so. You're not going to lose anything. And finally, I think it's a interesting observation that microorganisms, viruses, bacteria don't respect national boundaries, and that should tell you something. All boundaries are artificial. So it doesn't matter. Quarantine is a good idea, but ultimately there are no boundaries. And boundaries are all artificial. So quarantine is good. It's a temporary measure. But how long can you quarantine people? And the incubation period of this virus can be as long as 1 month, which means no symptoms for a month, which means, you don't even quarantine for a month, may or may not be effective. So what should we do? Well, we should hope that governments and research institutions will come together, that leaders will come together. Leaders have been all over the world interested only in power mongering, influence peddling, cronyism, corruption, and personal importance and greed. So let it all dissipate. Let the world leaders come together, because we have a challenge we're all facing together. This is time to reflect on our interdependence and our interconnectedness. Our economies are interconnected, our health is interconnected, our well-being is interconnected. And so once we recognize our total interconnectedness, interdependence, let's this incident of a worldwide pandemic that doesn't respect artificial boundaries be a lesson to all of us, and so we can all on our collective well-being. Our collective economic well-being is dependent on our collective health as well, it's obvious. And our collective anxiety and our collective panic and our collective stress is not going to help. So let's stay healthy. Let's follow simple